All right, everybody, welcome to Granblue Radio. This is episode number 317. Uh, it's the end of um, March. We have one more update to go, but we had the second to last update of the March anniversary stuff. So let's get into it. Are we going to start with the fight that has been really hard to get into?
For good reasons too. So let's talk about Seofon. There are so many things that actually dropped on the 22nd. So
We'll start with this one. So, Seofon's happened. Um, I actually fought him on stream before this. It is a, it is a, uh, basically the like GBF equivalent of a slobber knocker. He's trying to do as much damage as he can to you, and you're trying to do as much damage as you can to him, and you're basically racing to get full chain. I enjoy the flavor of it. Like,
it gives a really good reason for Yamato because the damage threshold you need to actually hit is pretty high even for like the super good stuff.
yeah, 77 million damage is the only Omen break possible in this one. There's nothing about debuffs. There's nothing about like hit count or anything like that. It's just
Okay, he's
damage.
not he's not like his event fight.
hmm And so, I mean, there's a lot of characters that are very good at this. Wilness is a king of this fight because Seofon's just like hit me as hard as you can, and Wilness is like, yes, that's my job. That is what I do.
And increasing his skill damage cap is really good.
hmm Yeah. So I've seen like there's a lot of creative ways to get to that damage, or alternately, you can just try and survive it because there are certain ones that don't actually murder you to let them go off. It's just annoying because you lose 2 turns as Seofon gains unchallenged.
I mean that one you still have to be wary of the fact that if you can't you have to cut it, you can't block it
hmm
for the Cien Mia Espadas.
Truth.
It is fixed wind damage, so it's a cut you need. You can't dodge
Yeah.
it, and you also can't damage him while he's readying it.
Yeah. You can basically carbuncle. You can paladin it. Um, not the Marigna. It is Prometheus works if you have Prometheus. Like
He has nothing
there's
that actually says that you cannot bring a normal cut.
hmm the main thing is that the 17777, since the normal cut I don't think affects it, does it? Because it's fixed damage, or does the normal cut also work on it?
It's wind damage. So it's as an elemental cut works.
Okay. Oh, but it's just blocking doesn't work. Okay.
Blocking doesn't work.
All right. Um, but yeah, so like I've seen paladins take on this fight. I've seen a whole bunch of Yamatos. I've seen Kengos and Berserkers and Vikings. Um, there's a whole lot of different ways to cut this um like puzzle, you know? It's nice.
Well, Reno says that failing system works, so
Yeah. Um so that said, let's take a look at this weapon because um so ever since we had Schrodinger all the way up at the very beginning of these things with Diaspora, we were like, huh, Schrodinger works in any element. Like it's not great, but it is definitely useful
you
in
just don't
every
get the
element.
snowfalls.
hmm you get the Wrath skill, and you get the Awakening, and the Awakening makes it better than a lot of other weapons, just because the existence of Awakening and its really high Awakening numbers made it really good. And now let's look at this good old wind
It's a wind weapon.
weapon here. So
It's definitely a wind weapon.
there's nothing in here that refers to wind, and so you have attack, HP, and multi-attack based on sabers.
So the same
Sure,
rat skill.
it's the same wrath skill. And then here's the new one, charge. So you get C8 damage, CA damage cap, and special CA damage cap based on sabers. And so a lot of this was the same stuff that you got from Schrodinger, but that one was uh Like a lot of the Schrodinger stuff was under Snowfall, wasn't it? Let's take a look
It's
exactly
under
what.
Snowfall, and also well,
Yeah,
isn't
here's the
Snowfall
CA
the
damage cap.
one of them is for supplemental CA damage. The
Yeah,
other one is for
it's
this
for the
damage
special cap.
cap.
hmm And so, in a lot of ways, this is just a better Schrodinger. Like it'll give you so the way that the numbers have worked out, it caps out at five,
5 swords.
5 swords. Um, and do you have the numbers on hand and how much each of those gets you at once you're at 5 swords?
I can tell you individually what you have. So
Sure, and then
you
you
can get
multiply.
5% CA damage for having one sword,
hmm
3% CA damage cap, and 1% CA damage cap special cap.
hmm
So
And
that'll
then
be
yeah,
25 each, 15 each, and then 5 each.
and then it maxes out at 5, and so yeah, then you put attack awakening on it, then you put defense awakening on it. Like people are taking this and like theory crafting out, or just some of them have already farmed like 5 of these things. You can make multi-element um, grids, and people are taking that to like grand order where multi-element actually is rewarded. And like, oh, you can take theme like eternal and divine general teams with each other. Um, it's not like the perfect weapon or anything like that, but it is a lot of hit points to have one of these Revon's weapons with defense on it, and it's like what what's awakening on these things again? Is it 20% defense?
15, I think.
15?
Yeah, it's 15.
It's 15. Like 15% defense. Like these things are starting to um, replace garrison as a skill. It's just flat defense because like that way you can rely on it. You don't have to get beaten up. You just always have your 30% defense, your 40% defense, which is it's a big deal. And it gives you a little bit of things that it doesn't give you um, skill damage. It doesn't give you amp. It doesn't give you a lot of other things that get taken care of in other grids. But it's really, really good. And this raid is going to be slammed for a long time, especially since it goes so fast. Like Seofon is like a 5-minute raid right now. And the only reason it takes longer for us is that we have people who stop at 4 million and very politely wait to try and let other people catch up, you know?
Yeah. I can't wait for that change to open breaking makes you get honors.
Yes, I also can't wait for that change. But yeah, I think this is the easiest Revens fight so far. It has like a whole bunch of characters that are really good at it because these requirements are just so simple. Because it's like, sure, the latest 2 or 3 grands are good at it, but it's like Sater's amazing at this fight.
Sarah's amazing at this fight. But you're gonna have to be accepting that you're not trying to break anything.
Yeah. Like since damage is your actually sorry, it's the latest 3 grands are all very good at the fight because Michael is actually good at the part where you just put a bunch of CA damage on um one character. Like
Wellness.
Willness if you have him. Like the old like alley oop combo of Yukata Silva into like another really big CA character. Like I've seen Izmir's, I've seen like Valentine's Vera's because she has a ludicrously high CA number for some reason. Anyway, yeah, it's just because she has boost to CA specs naturally. I guess it's because she also has low HP, which does her low HP actually does come into play at the 10% because like I have a good chunk of HP, but she just doesn't have enough naturally to live through um, the 10% trigger on Seofon without help.
Sometimes you just accept your death.
Sometimes you just accept death. Sometimes you hit
I,
a
I find it funny that that thing hits the back row too.
yeah, yeah. Satyr comes in and I'm just like, oh, Oh, you're bleeding too.
We should actually. There's still more things to flavor. We talk about that fight.
The flavor's so good because it's like his Seofon skill 1. On turn 10, he just says, "Hey, I'm up to 5 sword shines and I'm going to be unchallenged, and and next turn I'm going to try and CA you," which is cool.
Yeah, so on turn 10, he literally he's gonna call do the nuke. You have to find a way to mitigate it, or yeah. So that's his turn 10. He also has a thing where if he has a full fatal chain, because he gets fatal chain every time he gets to do a special action,
Hmm.
is that when you the next button that you press that's a skill, he'll negate it and then do 30k to your party.
He counterspells. It's so sick. He just gets to nope out of it.
Do
What a
note that that 30k cannot be mitigated.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the word block, and then it just still says 30,000. I'm like, ah, I understand.
You can dodge it. That's the funny part.
I think that Valentine's Vera mode still caps it at 5k.
It's still wind damage though. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, she still caps it at 5k.
So
But
Anderson should cap it too then.
yes, Anderson's also very good at this fight. Like
Anderson's
I've
amazing.
I've seen Anderson's. I've seen this has a whole bunch of characters who are just like, I am here to hit really hard, and then actually like they did make sure that this fight is not like a Summer Medusa playground. I purely use Summer Medusa in this fight to Petrifying Gaze and split an Omen into 2 turns. That is her the entirety of her job. And
One of the good things for Seder for specifically is that Emblema is one of the CAs that could happen. That
mhm,
it readies the CNMA spotted for next turn. So because an action was taken by the enemy that was a special action, it
mhm.
decides that her skill 3 goes off cooldown.
Yeah, so that's another thing, by the way, about Yamato. Like, the entry trigger gives you 20% FC, which is cool if you're Yamatoing it. There's a lot of things about this where it's like a lot of the design of Yamato really comes together and you see what they're doing. Like, we were talking last week about how the bigger the damage number, the more useful that the Yamato skill 1 is. And it's like, yeah, 30% of 77 million is a really big number. And so when you actually take the head, then you're just like super thankful. You're like, oh, thank you. I owe you my life. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and um it's super rewarding. So this thing's gonna be slammed for months. It feels like.
Oh yeah, at least it's easy enough that we could just host it though.
Yes, I like that part. All right. So let's see here. Next up, we have um, the just list of updates that we have. Let's go into. Wow, there were so many updates yesterday. Anyway, the actual update notes for the end of maintenance, because a lot of stuff happened to Arcarum, and now that we have experienced them, let's go talk a little bit about things like we'll go to Auto Expedition last in this Arcarum section. Um, but the following updates. So there's new missions which give new plus defender. Have you actually noticed? It's hard for me to notice the new um, the effect of the new missions.
Oh, I can't see them because I'm not looking at the defender things anymore.
Right, exactly. Because now the defender battles can be accumulated. This is huge. It's enormous. And it's a big reason that we haven't actually noticed that the new missions have been added that give you +1 defender gauge, because you don't see the defender gauge anymore. You just exit the fight and you're like, why do I have 15 dinosaurs to fight now? And you're like,
Yeah, you
oh!
can. That's the one that you can actually turn off of a single pop up for.
Hmm. You still get popped out for the like
The chest
Herald
spawning.
and the chest spawn.
Which, you kind of want to hit those anyways, because one of them can have 200 AP, the other one can increase how much you're gaining.
It has that, and if you don't have the Manitoria yet, then and those things you actually do want to just continue to pop them. Um, so Defender Battle is accumulating huge. The plus 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 is it's nice. Um, the guidebook details pages have an equip button, sure. Uh, Saphira treasure boxes are now accumulated and can be opened in bulk. Opening 100 of these things feels so good, and that you just stop being so disappointed individually and you just go, okay, I got a bunch of stuff, but maybe none of it's good. Or in the grand scheme of things, it's just, you know, it's just very convenient. Um, the part where your missions get cleared without having to go into the mission screen is something that I've been like mad about for years, and so they finally fixed it. So I'm glad. Switching between the two Arcarums is also important. All right, so let's actually go and talk about Auto Expedition and what we do like and don't like about this, because you've played a ton more Princess Connect than I have. Because when I
Hmm.
came in, Adventure it was like a little bit after Adventures were implemented, so I was just
Yeah,
like,
so they
what
can have
is
the
this
X
mode?
equipments.
So here is it's I'm gonna need to wait 22 minutes on this one, but let's just pull these ones back then. So in order to get the whole thing. Oh, I got the message. Willingness is a simpleton. Sorry. Anyway, uh, I'm just gonna recall these and send them back out. So, let's take Geisenberger out for now. Like, there are 13 different categories of characters, and this is something that Princess Connect doesn't have, right? There's no character who's better at anything than anyone else for adventure mode.
I don't know. I can't read.
I don't think so. But in this one, there's a bunch of different character tags that say this character will find you a certain thing. So we've got Treasure Hunter, Evokers find one Idean every 2 days. Detectives get you Astras, I believe. Bloodhounds. What do Bloodhounds get you again?
Variant proofs.
Viren proofs. Right, that's right. Phantom Thief, and like it I do I'm going to ask KMR directly and ask him why Conan and Joker are not a detective and a phantom thief. But anyway,
What are they?
they don't have a tag at all. No collab characters have a tag. So Conan is not a detective, Joker is not a phantom thief.
Ah, so they're under no bonus.
Yeah, they're just generic, like they'll get you uncapped materials. Um, but yeah, I've been enjoying Nalha Grande because last time not Geisenborger, Reinhardtzar came back. He came back with big beast bones. And I was like, yes, yes, please. I need these things so badly, but I don't want to actually go and fight for them. So, you know, there's all these just little things that they can get you that feel good. The problem, of course, is that here's Evokers, and actually, I'm not gonna let him do that one. Let's send Kaim out there.
So everything maxes out at 48 hours. However, there's also the thing where your EXP earn can be increased because by the characters you use, by their bonus type, as
Hmm.
well as the base reward cap can also be increased too.
Hmm.
Look
But
at the wiki
like,
for the table.
hmm but like, in your estimation, since you've done, well, you log in once a day basically, and you bring back your expedition, but you also played Conclave and stuff like that. So like, how does this compare? This new mode?
I can increase how much times they can actually do it, unlike in for instance Connect where I can extend their time.
Hmm. Yeah, this one asks you to come back every like basically 48 hours. Actually, exactly 48 hours. That's when their bonuses max out.
Correct,
On the
except for when there's extended report caps.
mhm. On the plus side, though, when you send them back out, it doesn't revert your progress. It just picks up where you left off, which is nice. But
To note that the most that could be carried over for progress is an hour and 59 minutes.
really, oh, because that is exactly one um, piece of bonus loot from like the people who have very common loot. I think. I think.
Common loot is 4 hours.
Is it okay? So it's half of a loot. But yeah, I recently called back my first squad, and they had one Idian in the red chest, and I was like, ah, so this is how it's going to be. Um,
I mean, it's passive. I'm
yeah,
okay with it.
it's passive. It's flavorful. Um,
You just
the
have to remember to call them back.
yeah, the main thing is that it just adds another thing to the inbox where it's just like, all right, it's time to pick up my provisions. You don't have to do it, but you don't want. It's some mildly inefficient not to do it, and then you want to check on your squad once every 2 days. Um, we more and more and more want that like chores list that just says, all right, click on this thing, do them all, please, thank you. Do my chores, please. These are getting we're getting like chore inflation.
You don't have to do all your chores.
It's true, but it is nice to have the option of just saying, all right, look, I would like Kokoro to do all of these things for me. Uh,
Yeah. Also, Kokoro doesn't look at a server thing.
that's true.
This game runs completely on servers.
Hmm. Yeah, the differences of having an app that is well, the app is still server authoritative, so it still checks with the server and just lets the server know what you have, as opposed to this one where, yeah, everything happens on the server. Anyway, but yeah, there's some refinements that can come out, but overall, I mean, free stuff is free stuff, and it gives you an excuse to like be thankful that you own certain characters. It is nice for a new player eventually to get like, well, Ezra Crane's easy to get to, but Phantom Thief. Phantom Thief exists as SR Catherine and then two SSRs. So getting one of those, you're like, hey, I can send that out now. Nice. Finally, Ezra Crane is useful. Yeah. And Sachi notes that it's like, yeah, it's easy through this UI to level characters that you've never touched before. You don't have to like go sorting through in a party screen. You can just send them in through.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So,
sure I actually did get like a full what's it called EMP bonus from this.
mhm. All right. So, next up, want to go talk about the weapon uncaps?
Sure.
All right.
You have
So,
to tell me what order you're going for, though.
element, it is the patch note order, which is by element or wheel order. So, starting with fire. So, here we are. So, first we've got the Cloud Blazer's Broom, which is Anna's spear.
Yeah, I got a match to medium. It's pretty good.
Do we know what happened to its CA or no?
What's its base CA do?
The base CA is one turn cut skill cooldowns on MC, and you get fire attack up.
I don't know what happens to CAs then.
Okay.
But
Uh,
one turn cooldown, quick cooldown is always nice. Anyway,
mhm.
in the first place.
It's on a spear, so let's see. That means like Mantis cooldown cuts on C8. That's actually really good sounding. All right, let's take a look.
What's that class? The one has a spear and an axe.
Apsaris.
Yeah, cutting that skill one is pretty good when you
That's
have all
true.
the spears and axes in the
Hmm.
fire grid.
Yeah, you're right. There are plenty of axes in a fire grid if you want them. Speaking of axes, the tiny logger's axe, it just it gets stamina. Um,
It was decent, never that amazing.
mhm.
And now it heals you on CA. That's all right for your lumberjackers.
Yeah, this is definitely lumberjack oriented. So when lumberjack, well, then again, fire has no shortage of things that you can just cut trees with, or amazing harps also, like good and accessible ones. So I don't see this one getting that much of a run here.
There's a lot of weapons I don't see getting a chance in the sky.
Yeah. Blue lightning, Fandango. Yeah, we're gonna move on. Um, we get an attack skill on Mystique, which was actually kind of a weakness of it because it had a bunch of skills, but we make
Well,
sure what it had.
one of them was a attack skill.
Yeah, having a second
Bloodshed.
attack skill. Yeah. So big attack, medium attack, and then small enmity. So it
That's all right.
basically has three attack skills. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
Um,
especially since it feeds the enemy process of Jean.
yeah, and also you have like Esnas and stuff like that that give you, I think there's supplement based on how much HP you're missing. So
Correct. So you don't have to
this,
run crit.
yeah, this already had a place, so it stays there. Summer Healing is the funniest uncapped patch note that I've seen in a very long time, by the way, DJ. Skills, nothing changed.
That's true. It still has its big majesty and big healing. It's now at skill level 15.
Yeah,
However, CA's change.
the CA changed, and the CA change is clearly the best of these, unless like something really, really jumps out at you, because it gives you vaccine, which is, if you don't remember it, it's the buff that Doctor gives you, where at the end of the turn, so if you use it preemptively, it gets rid of debuffs. And yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're literally just turning yourself into Tico.
Yeah. Um, that said, like it means that if you're say a mana diver in Earth, you don't have to run Luo's Manatura in order to get rid of debuffs. You can just run this if you happen to have a 4-star summer healing.
Well, you also,
Um,
the other thing is you have to find a way to hit 100 meter.
yeah. Um, but it's easier when you don't have to actually run a Manatura that eats 30 meter in order to clear that debuff. So, and then yeah, I can definitely see a lot of use for the summer healing here. Great spear, it gives you arts. We're just moving on, I guess, unless there's something that you need to say about this.
No.
All right, here's a big one. Here's one of the other big like winners of this cycle. Summer Shion's firework, the dagger. Number one,
So originally it had Garrison and Aegis. So what does it get?
it gets spectacle, which is basically Ewiar's beak skill damage supplement.
Yeah,
So
it's the same title as the Agonizes, and they're all the same number. I don't know why they're different skill names.
it's just because the way that the 6 dragon weapons were designed, all of them have the word covenant, even though they don't say the same thing. They are, Jade something covenant for all of them, um, so that they tie together the series, even though the skill word does not actually mean the same thing in any instance. It just means that this is the 6 dragon weapon. So that was a little bit of a weird design choice where in all other skills the same word means the same thing, but for the 6 dragon weapons it doesn't. That said, this is Ewiar's beak that's affected um, by summon auras if you're a Zephyros,
It's
and
affected by being defensive
mhm,
because that's the only skills that it will affect.
yeah, the other ones are star.
Tranquility Spectacle is a star.
Well, so it's Aegis and Garrison, yeah. Um, and then the last thing is that the existence of it as a dagger that you can use, there's a dagger that came out recently that people were like, I wonder what other daggers we can put in here. Like you don't need that many daggers to make the cat dagger work, but it's there. It is adding options. Um, Galvanic Lance gets arts. We move on. Grea's Katana gets Blade's Wrath. Um,
So how
I'm
many
really
katanas
curious.
are there that have Blades of Wrath?
There is the Schrodinger. There is the Grail one. What's the other? There's another one. What is it?
Is it a Naramaya's weapon?
Was it Narmez? Okay. Yeah. Um, then there's the impossible diagram here, which gives
I
you
was
which.
gonna make a
Whoops, go ahead.
small note that Light doesn't have like a dearth of light katanas in the first place.
Yeah, like there's Horus Katana. There is.
The Draconic katana.
Mm-hmm.
So you could technically stick this in.
Mm-hmm. The impossible diagram here, it gets an upgrade to glory, and it gets ascendancy, which is a skill that we've seen on like the pop gun before. So this is now the um, like the fire pop gun level of like if you are slamming those CAs, then this thing is good. Pretty dang good even. Um, Down to the Bowman Fist, we get Gauntlet's Wrath, which I think is the first melee wrath. I may
You
be
know, something
wrong.
that Dark had a hard time getting, melee
Fists.
weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what Dark doesn't really need multi-attack rate. Anyway, the Plumeria Scepter is Marvel, which is supplemental skill damage based on low HP.
Yep,
So
and
get
the rate it goes is from 50k base to 150k. That's pretty good.
the cap on it is still 200 though, isn't it? Or
It
no?
is always 200k
It is
for
always
damage
200.
for skill damage caps.
But yeah, one of the popular skill damage based grids in Dark is the Tahar Masala, which starts you at lower health. And so, yeah, this can slot right in there. Can. Doesn't have to, but you know.
We just
Um,
gotta slam into enmity. Also, this
hmm
has arts. This is actually the one time I don't dislike the fact there's an arts on this
hmm
now.
Right. But yeah, so those are the 12 uncaps. There were a couple of good, really good ones in there. There's a couple where it's like, yeah, if you have them, sure. Um,
Another thing that
whoop,
happened with this update is the six dragons are actually uncapable now.
yes. So the 6 dragon uncap is here. They all got the same uncap. Um, so that's good. We don't have to, we can talk about them as a group rather than as anything else. Like nothing changed about them. Their calls are still the same.
The
Uh,
calls actually got something that from the characters.
oh, did they?
Yep. For
Cause
example, Singe's on call is from Wellness.
oh, it's singed.
Whamnus gets
Okay, yeah.
Toxicosis.
Mhm.
Gallon gets a delay because Gallon's skill 2 delays.
Mhm.
One tuck cut to all foes buff durations from Eliar. That's
ABR.
skill 2 as well.
Mhm.
Special attack damage lowered is stackable from Luo.
Mhm.
And stackable DATA down on from Fedio. They're all from the
Fadil.
skill 2s.
That is flavorful. Um, let's see. Most of the time when you summon them, you're summoning them for supplemental damage and hit count. Well, hit count's only on certain ones of them. Um, and then a lot of the time these things also they got even better at living in the sub slot with they went from 20% to 40%.
Yeah, that one's huge.
Yeah, it's especially huge. The most noticeable thing, of course, is just because of how numbers work, is on HP, and it's pretty welcome to have like just squeeze out even more HP if you're not already slamming into the 400% HP cap on grids. Hey, Waka, I haven't seen you in a bit. All right, let's see here. Uh, let's see the other thing, the big ticket thing, which a lot of us have been like wondering about opportunity cost, because this is all about opportunity cost for Lucifer Transcendence. Like, if it was just an uncap and you could spend resources that you could get back fairly easily to do it, then yeah, we would all be doing this. As it is, sand is hard to get.
I have not gotten sand in over a month.
I have not gotten sand in 2 to 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, it's been a
I've
long
only
time.
dropped 3 sands ever so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. And so, um, with the update coming next week, that the evokers are getting uncapped,
And you
and
need
we
to use the sand in order to uncap their weapon at the very minimum.
yeah, then the opportunity cost of this is huge, but the actual things that we get, I mean, that's also it's a thing that is powerful for sure. The question is, how far down the priority list that getting this guy to 250 is, because like, all right, we're just gonna talk about a couple of thresholds. So, um, I believe 230 was an important threshold for Lucifer because is that when the main aura upgrades?
His main aura upgrades from just being the 150 all elemental attack to also including remove one debuff from all allies when you foe uses special attacks. All allies get white wings appear. Wings of white appear white. I mean,
Yeah, and Wings of Pure White is the unremovable revitalize. So it's kind of like Wings of Creation where it takes the existing buff, gives it a new icon, and makes it unremovable. But yeah, auto placing revitalize, auto removing a debuff after a special attack. That's super powerful. Um,
Also the sub wars update at the other marks of instead of 210, it's at 220, 240, and 250,
yeah,
where your healing specs go up.
and um, for those of you who haven't been doing things like Agastia and Diaspora really, really like having um, healing specs up in your grid somewhere or in your characters or something. Because
That
holy
also caps
cow,
out at 100%.
hmm like how you have a healing ultimate, don't you, DJ?
I do, along with Tico's dagger in my hand. I
Yeah,
hit cap of healing, by the way.
that stuff is very, very like useful. Like it is not insignificant to have 30% healing up on your sub auras. And then, yeah, at what point do you have the main with get 50% HP? It is 250. Ooh, that's tough. That's a tough sell to get all the way to 250 to get your 50% boost to max HP. But, you know,
That's not in your grid though, so yeah, that's actually good.
it is powerful. But yeah, 15 sands a lot. I don't see myself getting this in the year 2023. I honestly don't see myself getting this in the year 2024 until they start getting more ways to get sand in our hands. Because I just uncapped the Rise of Justice for the end of the week, and then there's 27 more sand waiting for the rest of the uncaps, and after that, um, yeah, yeah. Please, my children are starving. I need a little bit of sand here. Please help me. That's what I'm just gonna say. Uh, anything else about this?
It's not as powerful as Bahamut because Bahamut also has the part where it lowers your summon cooldowns.
Including for Bahamut? Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
that's like the main problem of this. And the spell cancel only lasts for only 2 turns.
the
And
thing
the spell
is,
cancel is a thing that if it's used up, it's used up.
right, but on the other hand, have this I think this is way better as a main summon than Bahamut is because of the reactive not just because of the reactive stuff, but the reactive stuff is a big part of it, but also the 50% HP is easier to like take advantage of. That said, I'm I'm still not doing it. All right. The last thing to talk about for now, I believe we've covered all of the important things other than this, outfit for Narmea, is there was another announcement that came at the end of Dread Barrage. Dread Barrage concluded about the next crew event. So we already knew about Light Unite and Fight in April. Then the next month in May, there is going to be another Unite and Fight, and I was looking at the schedule for Unite and Fights, And this is the first like back-to-back months that we've had Unite and Fight since 2020.
I'll let you know. I'm not doing Jack during that United fight.
Yeah, you're gonna be in Japan, aren't you?
I'm going to a concert, baby.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Like, um, they haven't done this for a long time. Like we've talked about this, it's like it's exhausting. It's good to have like breaks between. Dread Barrage exists to give people more breaks and longer breaks between these things. So the only thing I can think of is that June and July are freaking packed.
I'd believe it.
Yeah, because we've got what? We've got Tales of Arcarum is allowed to run at the same time as other things, I think, because we did this at the um. We also had we had something running at the same time as the end of the anniversary event, right? We had Dread Barrage and the anniversary at the same time. So, I mean, I'm not a fan anymore. I've gotten used to a certain pace of living with Unite and Fights. And yeah, I definitely feel that May will be a much lower level of activity than we're used to because it's just back to back and we don't do that anymore. I liked the fact that we don't do that anymore. I would like them to once again go another 3+ years without having these back to back anymore.
Don't run
Uh,
away from United fight.
you are running away from Unite and Fight. You're crossing an ocean. You're actually
Yeah,
getting
for
closer to the
better
servers.
ping.
Yeah, you're getting the better ping. you you got the good ping over there, and you're not going to use it on Unite and Fight. At
I
least,
mean, I'm gonna use it like for 3 hours a day.
yeah, that's fine. But yeah, like I said, there's something going on. I don't know what, but they looked at the schedule and they said, all right, June, July, we got to figure out how to spread this out in a certain way. And I mean, I'm
The,
not a
the
fan.
question, the real question is, how do they make it anti-Florence?
That's
They
a
could
very
take
good
what
question.
Agostia does and say your 1 turn buffs don't work.
I don't know if they want to do that too often. The question is what they do, and there's a lot of open questions on that one. Rena's like, DJ, please carry me. All right. Anyway,
I'm gonna be an Osen. You have fun.
I'm. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I might be a combo breaker if things work out. If things don't work out, I'll fail downward to Fanime probably. Anyway, so
Boss, that's an unchallenged 50%. Yeah, that's probably right.
the forced cross this trigger thing. Um, but yeah, that's it for this week. Next week we have let's see, it'll be the 31st Japan time. So we'll have the first Evoker uncaps to talk about. We'll have also the next event to talk about, the next story one. Um, and then the week after that is going to be Sanrio. That's going to be hilarious.
Hey, that was never hard confirmed yet. Anyways,
Yeah, you're right. So anyway, I'll be in LA next week because yeah, the 30th I'll be at a wrestling show. So this show will be we may want to move that to the 31st then. I'll talk to you about that one, DJ.
all right, don't worry. April 9th, I'm not here.
Yeah, all right. Show by Rocker My Mellow, please. Yeah. With that said, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out, DJ. We will see all of you next week. And yeah, I will be watching some wrestling at this time next week. That'll be fun.
I'm free. I can go play Resident Evil now.